This is Everyday Tension. Real stories based on real experiences about everyday conflicts people rarely talk about. This story was shared anonymously. If you'd like, you can support the channel by liking or subscribing and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Here's what happened.
It started, I guess, with the car. That's not really true. It started before that, but the car was the first time I understood what I was dealing with. My boyfriend, Mark, and I had been together for about 8 months. Things were good. Easy. He was kind in a quiet way. Steady. I'd met his mother, Linda, a handful of times. Dinners at her place. She was always very busy, fluttering around, asking a lot of questions that didn't feel like questions, more like inspections. Where did I grow up? What did my parents do? Where did I go to school? She'd nod, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. I remember feeling like I was being weighed on a scale I couldn't see. The car thing happened after one of those dinners. Mark had driven us in his car, an old sedan he was proud of keeping running. As we were leaving, Linda followed us out to the driveway. It was a cold night. She looked at his car, then at me, and then back at the car. "The front passenger side tire looks low, Mark," she said. He bent to look. "Looks okay to me, Mom. It's low. I have a gauge inside. You should check it. You can't be driving around with low pressure. It's dangerous." Her voice had a specific tone, a mix of worry and accusation, like the dangerous tire was somehow a personal failing. "It's fine, really," Mark said, straightening up. He gave me a little shrug. A "here we go" look. Linda's gaze shifted to me. "You were sitting on that side. Did you feel it pulling?" I was caught off guard. No, I didn't notice anything." She didn't believe me. "Oh, you should pay more attention. It's for your own safety." She turned and went back inside without saying goodbye. In the car, Mark sighed. "Sorry about that. She's just paranoid about cars." "It's okay," I said, but it felt weird. It felt like she just decided I was wrong about what I'd felt or hadn't felt in a car I was riding in. That was a Tuesday. On Friday, Mark called me, his voice tense. "So, my mom's car is in the shop." "Oh no, what's wrong?" "Brakes and suspension, apparently. She says it happened after you drove it." I was silent for a second, processing. "Mark, I've never driven your mother's car. I've never even been in your mother's car. I don't even know what kind of car she drives." "I know," he said, his voice tired. "I told her that. She said, you must have driven it when she wasn't looking, or that you'd been in it with me, and I'd forgotten. She's insisting the damage coincides with when you started coming around." I felt a hot flush of anger, mixed with pure bewilderment. That's insane. That's literally insane. How do you even respond to that? I just told her it wasn't possible. She got upset, said I was calling her a liar. Then she said maybe you did something to it when we were over for dinner, like kick the tires or something. I laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "This is a joke, right? I wish." We saw her the following week. She'd asked Mark to come over to help her move a piece of furniture. He asked if I wanted to come, and I said yes, stupidly thinking I could be normal, that we could move past it. When we got there, she was all smiles. She hugged Mark, gave me a tight nod. We moved the bookshelf. It took 10 minutes. Then she offered tea. We were sitting in her living room, the same place where she'd interrogated me months before. She sipped her tea and said, "So, about my car." Mark shifted in the seat. "Mom, we don't need to." I'm just saying, she cut him off, her eyes on me. The mechanic said it was significant wear, not just normal. Someone had to have been driving it hard, over curbs, that kind of thing. I put my cup down. Linda, as I told Mark, I've never driven your car. Well, someone did, she said, her smile still plastered on. And it's a strange coincidence, don't you think, that it happened now? I don't know what to tell you. My voice was flat. She turned to Mark. I'm just disappointed you wouldn't offer to help with the repairs. As a gesture, since your guest was involved. I stared at her. Involved how? By existing? Her smile finally vanished. You know, when someone causes a problem, the polite thing to do is to offer to make it right, not hide behind excuses. I'm not hiding. There's nothing to make right. I didn't touch her car. So you say. She looked back at Mark. It's about taking responsibility. I thought I raised you to understand that. That was the moment I saw the dynamic clearly. It wasn't about the car. The car was just the battlefield she'd chosen. It was about forcing Mark to choose a side. To prove his loyalty by accepting her reality, no matter how absurd. By making me the villain, she was testing him. Would he defend me, or would he placate her? He cleared his throat. Mom, the conversation is over. She didn't do it. Linda's face went cold. She stood up. I see. Well, I have things to do. She walked out of the room. We sat there for another minute in silence, then left. In the car, Mark was quiet. I was shaking, a fine tremor of rage. Are you okay? He asked. No, I'm not okay. She just accused me of vandalism to my face, and she wanted you to make me pay for it. She gets ideas in her head. She doesn't mean it. She does mean it, Mark. She absolutely means it. She wants me to be guilty. She needs me to be guilty. He didn't have an answer for that. He just drove. That was the pattern. She would do something outrageous. He would push back weakly, and then we both sit in the uncomfortable aftermath, not knowing what to do next. The topic would be dropped, but the stain of it remained. The name-calling started gradually. It was never to my face when Mark was right there. It was in texts to him, or comments she'd make to him on the phone that I'd overhear. He'd be in the kitchen, phone on speaker, while he cooked, and her voice would slice through the room. I just don't trust her, Mark. There's something off. She seems like a gold digger. All these educated women, they're just looking for a man to support their lifestyle. I'd freeze, a potato half peeled in my hand. Mark would say, Mom, that's ridiculous. She has a PhD. She makes more than I do. That's what she tells you, Linda would snipe. You're too trusting. She's probably lying. She seems like a liar. And the way she looks at me, like a witch, cold. He'd argue, but it was like trying to hold back the tide with a broom. His arguments were logical. Her accusations were emotional. They existed on different planes. He'd say, here are the facts. She'd say, this is what I feel. And in her world, what she felt was the highest truth. The day I defended my dissertation was one of the best days of my life. It was the culmination of 6 years of work. My parents flew in. Mark was there, beaming. We had a small party at my apartment afterward. I was floating. Exhausted, but floating. My phone rang. It was a number I didn't recognize. I answered, thinking it might be a friend calling to congratulate me. Hello? Is this my name? An older man's voice, gruff. Yes? This is Linda's father. Mark's grandfather. My stomach dropped. Oh, hello? I'm calling to give you some advice. He didn't sound like he was offering a gift. You seem like a smart girl. You should leave Mark alone. You shouldn't marry into this family. Linda is very upset. You're causing a lot of problems. It's not right. Do the decent thing and walk away. I was speechless. I walked into my bedroom and shut the door. The noise of the party became muffled. I don't know what to say. Just think about it. For everyone's sake. And he hung up. I stood in my quiet bedroom, in my nice dress, holding my phone. The high of the day evaporated, replaced by a cold, heavy feeling. I didn't tell anyone at the party. I didn't want to ruin it. I told Mark later that night, after everyone had left. He was furious. For the first time, he seemed truly, visibly angry at his mother. He called her immediately. I could hear her voice, shrill and defensive, through the phone. I didn't tell him to call. He's an old man. He worries about me. He just wanted what's best. What's best is for you to stop poisoning the family against her, Mark shouted. It was the first time I'd heard him raise his voice to her. Poisoning? I'm just telling the truth. Everyone can see what she's like. You're the one who's blind. The call ended with him hanging up on her. He was shaking. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That is unforgivable. For a few weeks, he was solid. He didn't speak to her. He told me he'd set a boundary. No contact until she could apologize sincerely. I let myself feel hopeful. Maybe this was the crisis that would force a change. Maybe he saw it clearly now. The silence lasted about a month. Then, there was a text. A picture of a family dog that had passed away years ago. Remember, buddy? Miss him. Hope you're okay. He showed it to me. His expression conflicted. It's a test, I said. She's seeing if you'll respond to something innocent. I know, he said, but he didn't delete it. He left it on his screen. A few days later, he texted back. Yeah, he was a good dog. And just like that, the door was cracked open again. There was no apology, no acknowledgement of what she'd done, just a shared memory of a dog. It was a masterstroke. It bypassed the conflict entirely and appealed to the son who loved his childhood pet. The conversation that followed was all surface level. How was work? The weather? He didn't mention me. She didn't mention me. It was like I had ceased to exist, and that was the condition for their peace. I felt sidelined. I felt like my pain, the violation of that phone call on my graduation day, had been deemed less important than maintaining a superficial connection. Mark would say, I'm still angry. She's my mom. It's hard to cut her off completely. I understood that. In my head, I understood it. Family is complicated. But in my heart, it felt like a betrayal. A quiet one. He wasn't choosing her over me. Not exactly. He was choosing the path of least resistance. And that path meant allowing her back in, on her terms, which required ignoring the harm she'd caused. The campaign with my mother was the next escalation. Linda somehow got my mother's cell number. My mom is a gentle, non-confrontational person, a retired librarian. She started getting calls. At first, they were vague. I'm just so worried about our children. I think they're rushing things. My mom, polite to a fault, would listen and say something non-committal like, well, they're adults. We have to trust them. But the calls kept coming. Several times a day. The messages got darker. I think my name has a real anger problem. She damaged my car and will admit it. She's turning Mark against me. She's isolating him. You need to talk to her. My mom was distraught. She didn't want to bother me, but the harassment was taking a toll. She finally told me after the 10th call, in 2 days. She sounds so convinced, honey. So angry. I don't know what to say to her. I saw red. This was a new line crossed, bringing my family into it. Attacking my mother, who had never done anything to her. I demanded Mark handle it. He called Linda, his voice trembling with an anger I hadn't heard before. You will stop calling my mom right now. Do you understand me? That is harassment. It stops today. Her response, as he relayed it to me later, was all wounded innocence. I was just trying to connect with her. As the mother of the girl my son is dating, I was trying to build a bridge. You're so hostile to everything I do. He held the line. He told her any further contact with my family would result in him cutting her off for good. She backed down. The calls stopped. But the victory felt hollow. It was just putting out one fire. The arsonist was still loose, with a whole box of matches. Life settled into an uneasy rhythm. Mark and I were good when she wasn't a presence. We talked about moving in together. We looked at apartments. It felt like we were building something. But she was always there, a shadow in the corner. A text message that would put him in a quiet mood for hours. A comment from a cousin at a family event. Linda says you've been so busy lately. She was a low-grade infection, always threatening to flare up. Then, last week, the letter came. Oh, not an email. A physical letter, handwritten on nice stationery, sent to Mark's apartment. He brought it over, his face unreadable. She wrote me a letter, he said, holding it out. Are you going to read it? I already did. He paused. Do you want to read it? I didn't. And I did. I didn't want her words in my head, but I needed to know what we were dealing with. I took it. It was long, several pages. The handwriting was elegant, controlled. It began with how much she loved him, how proud she was of the man he'd become. She recalled specific memories from his childhood, surprise trips to the ice cream parlor, the time she stayed up all night sewing a Halloween costume. She framed each memory as evidence of her deep, selfless love. I have always put you first, she wrote, even when it was hard. Then she moved to the present. She was hurt, she said. So hurt by the distance between them. She didn't understand why he was pushing her away. She mentioned the car incident. I know you think I was unfair about the car, but a mother knows. I felt something was wrong. I was trying to protect you. Maybe I expressed it poorly, but my intention was only love. I cannot and will not apologize for caring about your safety. My jaw tightened. There it was. The non-apology. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you misunderstood my love. She wrote about how family is everything, that blood is thicker than water. That others she didn't name me, but the word others was heavily underlined. Come and go, but family is forever. She expressed disappointment in him for not defending her more, for allowing outsiders to damage their bond. I love you so strongly it sometimes frightens me, she wrote. That strength is why I fight for us. The letter ended with practical, mundane details. She was planning a trip in December. She hoped to see him. She'd booked a refundable ticket. She left it open. A hook. No demands, just a hopeful suggestion. I put the pages down on the coffee table. I felt sick. It was brilliant. It was a complete rewrite of history. Every act of control was recast as an act of love. Every accusation was framed as protective concern. Her pain was centered. Her loneliness, her confusion, my existence, and all the conflict it caused was just a tragic misunderstanding. A wedge driven by an unnamed third party. She was the victim, the steadfast, loving mother, waiting patiently for her prodigal son to see the light. "What do you think?" Mark asked. His voice was quiet. "What do I think? I think it's a masterpiece of manipulation. She doesn't take responsibility for a single thing. She just explains it all away as love. And she's dangling a visit in front of you." He nodded slowly, looking at the letter. It felt good to read the nice parts. The memories. My heart sank. That was the trap. She'd laced the poison with honey. The first half of the letter was designed to soften him up, to make him yearn for that version of her, the good mom, with the ice cream and the Halloween costumes. By the time she got to the justifications, he'd be emotionally vulnerable, wanting to believe her. "She wants to reconcile," he said. "I know. I think I want to try." There it was. The words hung in the air between us. We are about to sign a lease. We are about to merge our lives, our books, our furniture. We are about to make a home. And he wants to let the tornado back into the yard. What does that mean, Mark? Try how? I don't know. Talk. See her in December. Set some rules. Rules she's already said she won't follow. She won't even admit she did anything wrong. How do you have a relationship with someone who lives in a completely different reality? I have to try. She's my mom. He looked at me, his eyes pleading. Can you understand that? I could. That was the hell of it. I could understand it perfectly. The pull of a parent, even a bad one. The hope that maybe, this time, it will be different. The guilt at the thought of walking away for good. I understood all of it. But understanding it didn't make it hurt less. It didn't make me feel safe. What does it mean for us? I asked. For me? If you're reconciling with her, where does that leave me? Am I supposed to just get over it? Pretend the last 2 years didn't happen? No, of course not. I would never ask you to have a relationship with her. That's off the table. So it's a separate thing. You have your relationship with her, and I have. What? I live with you, but I have to pretend this person who called me a witch and a gold digger and harassed my mother doesn't exist? What happens when she wants to come to our home? What happens at holidays? What happens if we have kids someday? Is she just never going to meet them? Or are you going to want to take them to see Grandma? He put his head in his hands. I don't know. I haven't thought that far. I just know I can't live with this total cutoff forever. It's eating me up. And that was the core of it. His pain was real too. The pain of being torn. The pain of having a mother who causes so much damage. I could see it weighing on him. He looked older than he had a year ago. We didn't resolve anything that night. We just got tired and went to bed, lying back to back, a space between us that felt wider than the mattress. Since then, it's all I think about. We're supposed to get the keys to the new apartment next week. The down payment is from my savings. I look at the boxes starting to pile up in my current living room, and I feel a knot of anxiety. I am moving in with a man who is actively choosing to reopen a door I need to keep shut for my own sanity. I want to support him. I love him. On every other level, he is my person. He's kind to my family. He remembers my favorite things. He makes me laugh. He shows up, except in this one massive, all-consuming area. But supporting him feels like betraying myself. It feels like agreeing to live next to a toxic waste dump and just hoping the wind doesn't blow my way. He says I won't have to interact with her, but I don't believe that's possible. She's not going to accept being shut out of a part of his life. If he's back in contact, she will push. She will want to know about his home, his life. She will want invitations. She will use his guilt to worm her way back in. I've thought about boundaries. I've made lists in my head. She is never in our home. I do not attend events where she is present. He does not discuss our relationship, our finances, or our private life with her. He shuts down any negative talk about me immediately. But boundaries are only as strong as the person enforcing them. And Mark has a history of enforcement that starts strong and then erodes. The dog text, the gradual resumption of normal calls, his desire for peace, for a normal mother-son relationship, is so strong it bends his resolve. I also know that if I issue these boundaries as ultimatums, it will backfire. It will make me the bad guy, the controlling partner, keeping a son from his mother. It will play right into her narrative. So, I have to let him come to these conclusions himself. But I don't know if he will, or if he can. My therapist tells me I can only control my own actions. I can decide what I will and won't tolerate. But it's so murky. Tolerating what? His relationship with her? Her presence in the periphery of my life? The constant, low-grade anxiety that today might be the day she does something new? I think about the future constantly. It used to be a happy thought. Now it's a maze of hypothetical conflicts. What if we get married? Will she demand to come? Will she make a scene? What if she refuses to come unless I apologize to her? What does Mark do then? What if we have children? The thought of her near a child of mine, with her need for control and her venomous tongue, fills me with a primal dread. Would Mark really keep her away from her grandchildren? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Sometimes I think the only clear boundary is myself, that I have to decide what my line is and be ready to hold it, even if it means leaving. The thought of leaving makes me feel like I can't breathe. I love him. We've built so much, but I can't live in a war zone. I spent my 20s building a career, a sense of self. I worked hard to not be controlled by anyone. And now I feel like I'm voluntarily walking into a situation designed to chip away at that self, piece by piece. He talks to her on the phone now. Short calls. He does it in the other room. I appreciate the gesture, but I can hear the low murmur of his voice. I can see his body language when he hangs up. A slump of the shoulders, a sigh. It takes him an hour to come back to himself. It's like he has an emotional hangover after every interaction. He's trying to have a relationship, but it's draining him. And in turn, it's draining us. We have less energy for each other. We're more snappish. The shadow is in the house with us. I asked him yesterday, what does reconciliation look like to you? What's the goal? He thought for a long time. I guess just to not have it be so hard, to be able to talk to her without it being a fight. To have her in my life in some small way without it wrecking everything else. And if she can't do that, if she keeps attacking me or pushing or causing problems, he didn't answer. He just looked out the window. That's where we are, in limbo. The boxes are packed. The lease is signed. We move in 5 days. He's seeing her in December. I have no idea what will happen after that visit. I have no idea if this new apartment will feel like a home or just a nicer setting for the same old anxiety. I want to be compassionate. I want to be the supportive partner who understands complicated family. But I'm also afraid, and I'm tired. I'm tired of being a character in someone else's drama. I'm tired of my accomplishments being twisted into faults. I'm tired of worrying about the next phone call, the next accusation, the next piece of mail. Mostly, I'm tired of the uncertainty. Of not knowing if the man I love will ever be able to fully choose a life with me. If it means officially closing the door on the life she represents. He's trying to have both. And I'm sitting here in my half-packed apartment, wondering if that's even possible, or if I'm just waiting for the moment when I have to choose for myself once and for all.